gave us permission to share with you that she has breast cancer, and she started her first chemotherapy treatment today. So she's very optimistic, but she did ask for your prayers. So please keep Nelsie in your prayers, and also Mary Schrock's mother passed away. So if you would please keep Mary and her family in your prayers as well, that would be terrific. Thank you. So that's another thing I should probably just start off from the top, is that the market is like family. So the number one thing at the farmers market is the golden rule. We just want everybody to treat each other like we want to be treated. We help each other out when we can. There's no backstabbing. One of the things that really reminded me of that was our produce vendors last year said, you know, let those new produce vendors come in that had applied last year, because we can help them out. We can really help them learn a lot from what we've already learned. And so that just is one example of how the market is like a family. So that is the atmosphere that we try to cultivate, and we ask that any new vendors get on board with that as well, because it's so much more pleasant for everyone to spend several hours a week together in that way, and just works so much better as well. So just looking at a little overview of the rules that we have. Bring quality to bring them back. If you start out with a product that is not quality, you will lose customers before you even got them. So always bring your best, and if you know that something is maybe not grade A, or like say canner tomatoes, just be sure that they're clearly labeled in that way so that your customer knows that you're being transparent with them. That's the beauty of a grower-only farmers market, is that you can grow long-term relationships with your customers, but you need to be transparent and bring quality in order to bring them back. So, of course, whatever you sell at the market, you must be producing what you are selling at the market, except for pre-approved and very limited exceptions that are detailed in our vendor handbook. So I know several of you are new, but our 2023 vendor handbook is on our website, which is sedaliaareafarmersmarket.com/vendors, and you will find the new vendor handbook there. It has all the rules and regulations detailed there, as well as applications, our bylaws. Vendor biography is part of your application, which is required. So be sure to go there for the full details. So you must be from Pettis and the contiguous counties, again, with very limited exceptions. I want to explain that years ago we used to let everybody who was interested in vending at the farmers market do so. And a few years ago, we, as we were growing, we started to understand that that was not sustainable. In other words, it wasn't sustainable for our vendors for us to have a take-all-comers mentality when you're trying to establish a business. We want enough vendors in each product category to be competitive and to be able to meet the demands of our consumers, but that's never going to match up perfectly. We've certainly learned that over the years, that supply and demand is very tricky to balance. A lot of vendors say that if you go home empty-handed, you didn't bring enough. So that is just one example of the challenge of meeting supply and demand. Now, so if you turn in an application, it does not mean that you will be approved to sell at the market. We ask that everybody have their application turned in by March 10th, and our vendor relations committee will be going through the applications in order to determine the optimal product mix and best competitive situation. Now, we've said that we will err on the side of our customers. That means that we would rather have too much of something than not enough of something. But it is a process, and so if you're interested, ask all the questions that you can and get your application turned in by March 10th. And I believe we said that we would have those fully vetted within that following week. So I think we'll let everybody know by March 17th whether or not they're going to be vending at the market this year. So another thing is that we ask you to open your farm, kitchen, production area, whatever it is, for visits. Some markets call them inspections, but we call them site visits because we're not inspecting. We do want to know how you do things though. We want to be able to get to know you better. We want to be able to share your story. So when we do site visits, we take lots of photographs, we ask lots of questions, and basically we just want to get to know you so that we can help your customers get to know you and you can be successful. So that is the purpose of the site visits. So a little bit of a change this year that as usual, we're open 3 to 6 Tuesdays and Fridays. The market always opens the first Friday in May, and that is May 5th this year. But this year, we will be going to Fridays only after Labor Day. We always find that there is a slowdown, a drastic slowdown after the Missouri State Fair. And this year, we will be going to Fridays only in, after Labor Day, which means September, October. Last year, we tried something new as far as our fair relocation. For those of you who are new, they always need to use the pavilion that we're in for various fair activities. So we have to move off the fairground during the Friday, Tuesday, Friday of the fair that we're open. And so last year, we had a partnership with downtown Sedalia. And I think that pretty much everybody would say that that was a successful partnership. In previous years, we've been on the parking lot at Westlakes, which is hot, a lot of traffic, but not a pleasant atmosphere. When we moved downtown last year for those 3 days during the fair, we saw a new batch of customers. Our loyal customers followed us down there. It was a much more relaxed atmosphere than it was being on a hot parking lot. So just plan on that for again this year. The downtown folks have already asked us to do that. So provided there's no strong objections from our vendors, that's what we'll be doing again this year. Another new thing as of last year that you need to have product liability insurance. The market itself carries insurance, but it only covers things like trips and falls. We are not a product, we don't have a product liability policy that covers you. So as an individual business, you need to have can be a rider on your homeowner's policy or a standalone policy, but you need to have a product liability insurance policy. Our insurer requires that you guys be insured too. So let us know if you have any questions about that. Let's see. Another thing to emphasize is that when you turn your application in, be sure you've done your homework and you've got any licenses attached to the application that the state or local authorities may require you to have. For example, an egg license would be something that you would need to attach there. Or if you are selling a product that needs to be prepared in a certified kitchen, that you would need to have that certificate attached to that. So let us know if you have any questions on that. It was nice to hear Kirk say that they removed the cap from the cottage law. That was not something I was aware of, and woohoo, that's great news because it used to be $25,000 or less. And so, so that cap has been removed, and you can sell online now. So good luck with that, everybody. We require, and this helps your sales too, that everything be visibly priced. It is amazing how many people will be very interested in our product and be too shy to ask you how much it is. So whether it's placards on your stand or it's individual pricing on the products, that please, please, please make sure that your pricing is visible for the consumer because it will help your sales. Labeling, in addition to the contact information that we mentioned earlier, for those of you who are selling baked goods, you need to have the ingredients listed on the label by weight. So if it's bread, for example, obviously the number one thing on your label is going to be the type of flour that you're using. and then maybe it's a bread made with eggs, or it has some milk, yeast, et cetera, So you need to have it listed by weight as thoroughly as you possibly can on the label. Also, this may seem small right now, but it's very worth mentioning and ingraining, is that we do not permit sales before the opening bell. We ring the triangle, actually, right at 3 o'clock each market day, and that is to give you time to get in position, get comfortably set up, go to the bathroom if you need to, count your opening cash box, whatever it is that you need to do. We ring the opening bell at 3, and that's when sales can begin. Customers keep showing up earlier and earlier if we are lax about that, so you can just count on it being 3 o'clock each market day. Let's see. Just a moment ago, let's see, I had a slide up there that said how much we love our volunteers, and all of our board members actually volunteer at the market as well, except of course Amber, who was volunteering last year, is going to be our part-time paid market manager this year. But other than that, your board is volunteering for you. We love local food, and we love you guys, and we want to make you successful as much as possible. So if you know of somebody that might also be interested in volunteering time to serve at the market, or on one of our committees, by all means send them our way. It's a lot of fun. Brenda and I always say the market is our happy place. I can be having the worst day possible, and I come to the market and everything is better. So encourage people to come and volunteer at the market as well. So now I'm going to turn it over to Brenda, who is our recently retired but not gone market manager, to go over aspects of promoting yourselves.
So I guess I could have just stepped out and not like been involved with the market, but this is kind of like my passion, so I can't do that. And they've not kicked me out, thank goodness. So anyway, what I was going to talk about was marketing and social media. So one reason that we are so passionate about what you all do is because if you're passionate what you do in the kitchen, on the farm, in the pasture, whatever it is. We love your passion for detail and what you love to do. But what we want to encourage you to do is that it's also a business. It's your business, and a business has to be marketed to be successful, no matter what a business is. So as a market, we have utilized Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter. We have accounts on all of those. Truthfully, I haven't posted anything to Pinterest in probably 3 years. But it's still there and it's still good.
And I want to start doing more.
Yes. So Amber's saying that she's going to do more with that. But it's a great place to put like seasonal recipes and those kinds of things is what I was using it for. And even I have a page on, or a wall on there that's for like ideas for setting up your booth and those kind of things. So it's a great avenue. On Facebook, we have 1,248 people that are on our Facebook page, Sedalia Area Farmers Market. We also have
that's our MailChimp.
Oh, what is Facebook? Oh yeah, Facebook is 8. I was gonna think, that is like really low. What happened? So on Facebook, it's 8,508 people on our Sedalia Area Farmers Market page. We also have Sedalia Area Farmers Market community group page that you all can share on. Many of you do that really well. You have your own business pages and you can share it on the community page. And if you don't see that it shows up right away, text one of us because we have it where we have to approve those posts. That eliminates some spam posts that get made. So
And that number that is at the top of the application, that 660-851.
08
Six.
something.
6801?
6801.
Yes.
You can text that number and all three of us will see it. So we'll get your posts
Yeah.
boosted as quickly as possible.
So as far as marketing your page, and I love even like some of the new people, you already have business names, you maybe even have your Facebook or Instagram pages. That's awesome, because that's like sometimes the hardest process of starting a new like farmer's market business is making those leaps. So if you haven't and you want help, Amber we have not talked about that. I would be glad to help you set up pages. I'm kind of passionate about that. Beth's good at it too, but we would love to help you set up pages if that seems daunting or too much. So one other thing is as a vendor, when you share on your page, you are not able to share to Sedalia Area Farmers Market because that is a fan page. So the only people that can share to that page are admins. So when you share to your page, then we share it to our page. And that way that gets you in front of almost 9,000 people. So that's pretty cool. So it's just all of us working together. As a vendor, those that are currently vendors, and if we accept you as a new vendor, we have a group called SAFM, which is Sedalia Area Farmers Market Vendor Page. And that is where we find out who's coming to each market so that we can market for you effectively. It's where we can have communication. There's just a lot that happens on that page that's just between vendors and market staff, volunteers. This year we are going to try really hard for one of the volunteers, one of us or whoever, to do a Facebook Live at 2:50, because it's good to do it before market, because sometimes you've got a line that's way, 10 deep, 20 deep or whatever. And by the time we get around to do a live and do the marketing for you at the market, your display already looks picked over. So we want to try to do that prior to a lot of the shopping. So that encourages you hopefully to be there on time and have your booth ready to go at 2:50. As far as selling tips, it's been brought to our attention, and it's actually a 15-year-old situation that we're aware of. To sell at Sedalia Area Farmers Market, it's a grower, producer only market, which means you don't go to auctions and buy things. But some people do to use for their own use. So invariably, vendors will have some of those boxes because they're wonderful, strong boxes. But when you bring your items to Sedalia Area Farmers Market in those boxes, it does not bear well with your customers. It's very, very it's just not a good, so we're just discouraging you to not do that. So we're not saying that you can't go to the market, to the auctions. That's confusing for your customers too if they see you there, but we're not saying you can't do that, but it's better not to use those boxes.
Can I add really quick, Brenda, to that? Because you said that, so we can go to auctions, not just for personal use. If you're buying like a 4-pack of broccoli and planting it and then selling the broccoli at the market, it is yours. So you can go to an auction and purchase like plants, okay? You can go, but you can't go to the auction and purchase a hanging basket full of flowers and you directly take it from the auction to the market and sell it. So it doesn't, you had just said that like if you're using it for personal use, that's a yes and a no. There's several of us that have gone down to those auctions to purchase like starts, basically. That's okay. Yeah. You just can't then bring the starts to the market and sell them as starts, and you can't, like I said, purchase them and then not do anything to them to create them into something else to then sell the end product, basically. So just be mindful. It is hard. It is very hard to be seen at that market, you're a little bit like at the auction like this because people ask, and it just kind of ruins the integrity of the market for those produce growers or people who have tried really, really hard to put out a quality product, and then you're being questioned. The Missouri grown boxes are great. Like I was just talking with fried pies, they use them to put fried pies in. That's great. Nobody thinks they're gonna go to the auction to buy 5 fried pies and bring them back to sell at the market. But if you're a produce person and you're bringing your broccoli in them, your tomatoes in them, your onions in them, you start to get a little bit into questionably gray areas. Even if you're doing the right thing, it just sets the wrong tone, basically. So just keep that in mind. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack that conversation.
I'm glad that she said something.
Huh?
I'm glad she brought that up.
Yeah.
Because it's very,
Yeah.
it's frustrating seeing that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to protect yourselves and the integrity of the market, if you are going to go to a produce auction for whatever reason, obviously not to buy things to sell at the market, but if you're going, it would be really nice if you would let us know if you're making a trip. And that way, because we have had customers come up to us and say, hey, I think that you have a vendor that is
Reselling.
actually is reselling.
Yeah.
And customers want grower only. They want to be guaranteed of that freshness, and that is a reason for expulsion from the market. If you are reselling and without permission, like I said, there's very limited exceptions on that rule, but if you're caught reselling without permission, it is a grounds for removal from the market permanently. So just be on the safe side. If you're planning to make a trip to the produce auction, just shoot one of us a text and say, hey, this is what I'm doing there. And that way we can reassure our customers that, hey, they let me know and this is what they were doing.
Because we will be asked, we're asked often when people see you all at the auctions. So, and we reassure them that we've done site visits and that we have pictures of what you're growing and what your livestock and all of that, but still, it's just, we want to be as upfront and as full of integrity as we can, so.
I think you'd rather have a response to customers than have to go over to you guys and have an awkward conversation
Yeah.
about, hey, you've been ratted out, you've been at the auction, what were you doing?
Yeah.
It probably would just be easier to have a response on hand, like, oh yeah, they notified us
Yeah.
and they were purchasing
Onion sets.
whatever,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and then having that reassurance and just moving
Yeah.
forward, so.
Right. In 15 years, we've probably had to do 4 or 5 site visits, follow-up site visits in response to a complaint filed that someone thought that another vendor may have been reselling. And so we do that. We don't want to do that, but we will and we do.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what I had. I just, visible pricing, Bev's already covered. Stall layout, just remember that your business at the market is a storefront for you. So as you set it up, walk out into the customer area and what does your booth look like? Would you want to shop there? We encourage you not to sit at the market as much as you can, to stand and greet your customers. I promise you, your sales will be greater. I can just promise you that.
Those black stools.
Yes, and we have discovered a few years ago at Walmart for sure, and probably other places, but there are fold up black stools. They're about this big around, and they fold flat. And when you sit on them, I mean, they basically hit me here. So when you sit on them, you are almost standing. So if you do need to sit down for a break, it's 3 hours in cement, so we get that. But they kind of keep you up at eye level. So those are a great option.
Real quick, so last year at Walmart, they didn't have those at the store because they used to, but I was at Menards the other day, and they have them there for $14 a piece.
Nice. Yeah, they're
So-
super reasonable. Yeah, and they are padded, so they're not uncomfortable. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what I have. So Amber's next. Well, is there any questions? Okay.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the token system. When you sell at the farmer's market, you agree to take these tokens. I'll go over kind of how it all works. We will have a table at the market, that's our tablecloth, and that's where people come to get tokens. Now there's a few different tokens out there. Do we have the green ones?
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna start,
Okay.
set them here. I need them all back. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna pass them around so everybody can kind of see the different kinds that you'll be seeing.
So there's ones that are like these, except they're green, and they have $5 on them. Those are ones that we hand out when people come with debit or credit cards. So if you don't take debit or credit cards, if you're not set up to do that, the customer can come to the table, we'll run their card, and we give them the wood tokens with green writing on them in $5 increments for whatever dollar amount that they want, and then they can then spend it around the market. And I'll go over what you do with those tokens in just a minute. There's also these purple ones, the wood ones that have purple. Those are for SNAP. So if people have food stamps, if they have the SNAP card, we can run that and give them tokens. Those are able to be spent on anything that they would be able to buy at the grocery store with SNAP. So breads, milk, not milk, we don't sell milk, meat, cheese, eggs, produce, all those types of things. It can't be used on like prepared foods, like hot foods, but baked goods are fine.
Right, and there is legislation to try to change that, but it hasn't passed yet. so
Okay.
It may change.
Okay. And then these ones are also the same thing, and we have these $1 ones because we have these purple ones that are on a matching program. We have a grant that allows us to match up to 25.
Oh gosh. You all right?
Are you okay, Ellen?
Yeah.
Okay. That allows us to match up to $25 a day. So when somebody runs their SNAP card for $25, we can give them the $25 in these, but then we can also give them $25 in those for free, basically, because it's paid for by the grant. But since those ones are $2, that's why we have these $1 ones, so we can make up to the $25, if that makes sense. So these are both, can be spent on foods that they would be able to buy at the grocery store. These double up food buck ones are only able to be spent on produce or plants that will grow produce, like tomato starts and stuff like that. So no change can be given for any of the tokens. So if there's,
Except for the green ones.
Except for the green ones, the $5 item.
The green ones are like money, that's when I see the
Yeah.
green.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
They spend like
Yes.
money.
Okay.
Like $5 ones.
there we go.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, thank you. The SNAP and EBT and the double up food buck ones you cannot give change for those. When you are done vending at the market for the day, you take all of your tokens up to the table and we count them out. Do you have the slip for the next slide? You'll fill out this slip that says how many of each of the tokens and the dollar amount, and we total that up and then we deposit that into your account at the end of the month. And so that's how you get paid, reimbursed for all of those tokens that you have taken in. Now, I should have mentioned this before, but the SNAP and us being able to take the SNAP cards and the Double Up Food Bucks program draws in a lot of customers. Especially the Double Up Food Buck program, because it's basically free fruits and vegetables for them. And so we're really lucky to have these grants and to be able to take these benefits for them, because it really does bring a lot of people to the market. Does anybody have any questions about that? Did I miss anything? Okay.
Okay, just a little bit more about the market so that you know us and feel comfortable that we're being transparent as well, since we want you to be transparent. The market operates on about a $22,000 budget, and the majority of that, of course, is our part-time market manager and also promotions. So those are our two biggest expenses that we have. the membership and the stall fees generate a portion of that, and the gap is covered by fundraising that we do through sponsorships and grants. We work really hard to keep the barriers to entry low. Vendor fees